sir?
Welcome to another edition of Power to the People. I apologize for our AM and FM link. Back to the station. I want you to know that this was not their fault. It seems as if there is a link down with Spectrum, with good old allegedly with good old Spectrum. So those of you who are able to follow us on our streaming, and hopefully when we get done, the station will be able either to pick us up live in between the broadcasts, or we'll do replay. So welcome. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, Would you be mine? Could you be mine? Would you be my neighbor? Thank goodness for technology. I'm having some work done, so I couldn't be in the studio proper. But it's always next. Always next week.
We make it happen.
We make it happen one way or another. Welcome everybody to the show. A lot going on in the city, a lot going on across our country to talk about. I mean, countrywide is some real serious stuff going on with China that I'm going to be talking a little bit about. China and Elon and president, and something that's real serious that could affect all of Americans here in the United States. But before I do that, Mark, did you see the news about Canisius College, the president?
Yeah, it was crazy to just kind of out of nowhere. It was just like, I need to leave, and I'm not putting a date on it.
Right. And wait a minute. And you know what? I obviously, it's his personal business. It hits the paper, so we discuss it.
Yep.
But he's not just taking a leave of absence.
Mm-hmm.
According to the article, he's leaving the country.
Yes, I did see that.
So here's the point that I get the publicizing the taking the leave.
Mm-hmm.
But what was the deal with having to say he's leaving the country?
And I think they just said it was family matters that he had to leave the country for. I didn't know.
Maybe he's Haitian or something.
I didn't know he was foreign. So.
Yeah, and maybe he is. He's one of the, if not the youngest serving president of Canisius College. Has done a tremendous job from what I'm hearing over at the college. I'm hoping, listen what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we are not getting ready to lose another African-American administrator when we have, when Dr. Tanji Williams Knight is on her way out the door, who she said, June is deuces for me.
Yep.
So she's gone. And now he's taking the lead. Like, these are they? Oh, no. There's African-American over at Bus State, but she's leaving.
Yep.
She's not staying.
She's leaving too. And then I think the news that the Buffalo Creek Academy, the state did decide to close them. So we talk about another African-American leader.
Here we go, closing another charter school of children that they started in COVID. I mean, we talked about this. We had them on as a guest.
Yep.
They started during COVID. And it was even stated when they got their charter that it was going to be tough, allegedly. Mm-hmm. And you know what messes me up, and I talked about it before, when you are an African-American led school, it seems to me, this is my personal opinion, it seems to me they close down quicker, because I know of several other charter schools in the city of Buffalo. I'm not going to name them because I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm not trying to take away anybody's students. I'm just going to say, do your own research. I know of several other schools where they are suffering academically and they remain open. And I really believe sometimes that it's representative of who the supporters of that charter school is. And so I say, too bad for those students who were at that school, who were, the students who were thriving. Now, let me say on the other end, I do understand whether it's the Board of Education, whether it is the state of New York, to have a oversight of schools.
Absolutely.
I think that that's very important, that there's an oversight of schools, that there's somebody who watches, somebody who ensures that schools are running properly, that test scores are up, that teachers are teaching properly. And so I do believe in that. So because I'm not in that field any longer, I can't judge what the Board of Trustees decided to do. I just wish there have been more help for that charter school, so that those students, I'm more concerned about the children than I am the adults.
Absolutely.
Because now here is a couple hundred students that's now got to change their setting, now has to change their day to day because of this closure. So it is very unfortunate, and I wish all of those students well, all of them, every single one of them.
Yeah, and especially as much as we
Yeah.
talk about education on this show, anything that we can do to promote, or any places we can put our children so they do get a better education, is what we are going to support. So,
Yeah, exactly. So that's unfortunate for them, unfortunate for the families that are in those schools. But I've just watched it happen over and over and over. And now in a day of no DEI, it's not a whole lot of discussion that we could even have on that. Want to say good afternoon to Marie Collins watching, Sandra King, who's watching us live right now as the station is going through some difficulty, some technical issues.
yes.
So yeah, so I'm really concerned about the state of education for our children, and what this looks like for our children, because it's hard. You think about this: Buffalo Public Schools, charter schools, and these are children that were affected so much by COVID, and my heart goes out to them. Speaking of children, guess who's a new great grandfather? 5 generations of Pridgeon still alive.
Heard.
Yeah, my dad and mom were up at the hospital today. My granddaughter, I got to look it up because I don't look. This one just came into the world last night. So now there are 2 Pridgeons born on yesterday. My daughter's youngest son was born. His birthday was yesterday, and then my great grandchild. Let me see. I got to look it up, Mark.
I was getting ready to say you are.
I've got the name all written down. Let me see what this little whippersnapper's name is. Demir. It was born at 10:11 yesterday, 8 pounds, 5.5 ounces. Mom is doing, and baby are doing, yeah. I mean, they induced her, I can't tell all their business on the radio, but they induced her early in the morning. She ain't had a baby till 10 o'clock. So my granddaughter has been through it, but there is another Pridgeon on the face of this earth. So congratulations, 5 generations of Pridgeon who are here.
Awesome. So that's just awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. I think I love all my grandkids, all the great grandkids, but I think this one was a little something different because her mom is out of town but came in, and then to see my mom and my dad to be able to hold my great, which is their great grandchild, is crazy, man. It's crazy. So I wanted to pause and say big shout out to. Wait a minute, let me see what his name is. Demir.
Look, you'll get it by the time he's 16.
At least it's gonna be easier for me to remember all their birthdays. I remember 2 of them now.
Yeah, you just gonna call him D anyway. There's not even gonna.
Yeah. This might be one of the ones that get to hang. Craig, my son called me the other night. They were having a family meeting, and they said if something happens to them, well, where would you all want to go? And one of my grandkids said, with Papa. And I said, okay. Okay, y'all got insurance policies, right? Because Papa ain't trying to go back to work full time to take care of no kids. I'm on the retirement side. No. but we're going to pray that everybody stays well.
Stay good and healthy.
Good and healthy. So there is this big investigation going on with the sheriff's officer or the head of. Let me read it. And again, I'm reading what's in the news. I ain't making up news. I ain't taking nobody's side. I ain't on the left, on the right. All I'm doing is reporting on this station. The veteran city lawmaker, according to WGRZ, the veteran city lawmaker who represents the West Side neighborhood, where an Erie County Sheriff's chief damaged 8 vehicles during a controversial series of hit and run crashes last April, is calling for accountability. But District Council member David A. Revere said Buffalo Police Commissioner Alfonso Wright isn't the only one who owes the public some answers. Revere says Sheriff John C. Garcia's office should have conducted and made public the results of his own investigation into the conduct of Daniel D.J. Granville, Garcia's chief of narcotics and intelligence. Quote, I believe the sheriff's department can do their own investigation, Rivera said. They should have done their investigation from the very beginning of a year ago. Quote, if it was one of their vehicles that was involved in the accident, they're the ones that were being sued as well. So you think they would say, hey, we better look into this. The invoice is one of our officers, a high official, involves one of our vehicles. It involves taxpayer dollars in terms of settlements that are going to be offered out. Garcia has said his office did not conduct its own investigation into whether Granville was intoxicated when he damaged 8 vehicles on April 11, 2024. And it's too late now, by the way, to do those tests. We are currently awaiting the results of the Buffalo Police Department investigation. Christopher Horvitz, Garcia's spokesman, wrote in an email, quote, we won't be commenting further on any aspect of this matter until that concludes and we have all the information, end of quote. The Sheriff's Accident Investigation Unit is typically dispatched whenever a county vehicle is involved in a crash. The Sheriff's Office also opens Professional Standards Division investigation into any alleged misconduct, but by deputies, but there is no indication that was done. The Buffalo Police Internal Affairs investigation may not delve into whether Granville was impaired at the time, as a lawsuit filed in state Supreme Court alleges. The investigation is likely to focus on the role of Lieutenant, now listen to this, Lucia Esquilin, Granville's sister-in-law,
no, that's
who
where it gets
responded
juicy.
to the scene.
That's where it gets juicy.
That's where it's heating up, because number one, he's in a county vehicle, he's driving, he hits allegedly, let me keep saying allegedly, 9 cars. There's an investigation from a Buffalo police officer who happens to be his sister-in-law. Now, let me say this, because just because they're related doesn't make it criminal.
Right.
If she was working that area. Now, I think some people would have said, well, I better not investigate this. But usually, from what I know, allegedly, you a lieutenant, somebody of a higher rank is going to be present.
Right.
That's just kind of, at least when I was a cop in the Air Force, that's kind of how it went. So I don't begrudge the fact that she was there because she's a lieutenant.
Right.
He is a chief, I think.
Yeah, chief of the
chief.
Homicides or detectives or something.
So he's a sheriff's chief. I think he deals with narcotics or something. I don't know. Again, let me say, all I'll say is that it's not odd for someone of a higher rank to show up when there's another police officer involved. Right. She does the investigation. The county allegedly pays out money to the people whose car was damaged. Now, here's where the rub comes. Now the thought is, well, the question that's being asked by the Common Council, question that's being asked by the county legislature is, was he on duty when he had to crash? Now, even if he was not on duty, if it is a take-home vehicle, Now I'm just going from from my common council days. If a if the chief of police takes a vehicle home and is authorized to take it home so that they can respond, always be ready to respond, and he has an accident, there may be some liability of the city.
Yep.
And I would assume there would be some liability, and I'm not an attorney, but of the county, because it is a vehicle that is being properly driven by someone that is always on duty. The one thing about being chief, the one thing about being commissioner, I don't care what it is, they have to be able to respond, and they have to be able to respond with emergency equipment to emergency situations. So that's why they don't drive their own car if they're on call. So him having the accident and driving his own car may not be criminal. What may be is if, and hear me, everybody, I didn't say this is the case. I'm giving a scenario. Is if he was driving the vehicle and impaired, and that there was nothing done to test him. And the question would be, if this were a regular citizen and the lieutenant, and it's going to be about looking at past practices, looking at the operating procedures to see, because every accident, think about it, there isn't a toxicology test taken at every accident. Accidents happen every day. And if there isn't the appearance of being intoxicated, if there's not the smell of alcohol, if there's not something that suggests it, then an officer, from what I know of the law, and it's been years, cannot just arbitrarily walk up to somebody and say, without any probable cause, is the word, without any probable cause, to say we're going to test you. So I think this is going to be interesting. I think, well, it's already interesting, but I have a feeling that when it all shakes out and they look at policy, procedure, and past practices, it may be a wash. I don't know.
Well, and like you said to it, there's a whole other messy side to it too. But even with the city policy, you generally, if there's an accident, they go for immediate tests of drugs and alcohol. I think it's within 24 hours you have to be tested, and I think it's almost immediate. Like once you finish with the authorities on scene, you go get tested, because you have to know. You have to know for insurance purposes. You need to know because you got to figure out how to deal with the employee. But the messier side to that, besides the sister-in-law responding, is of course, I think Investigative Post reported how much money he's given to elected officials in the last few years. And that's what also muddies the waters. Not saying that he's not allowed to do what he needs to do with his own money, but, you know, it paints the picture with the sister-in-law and now other ethics, because now it's like, okay, well, we'll protect him because he gives thousands of dollars to other elected officials. So there is a whole lot that makes this situation messy if they would have just took that extra step that night.
Yeah, I agree. And because it happened in 24,
right?
Because it happened in 24, it could make it seem even messier, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is part of the problem. And my daughter is calling me, whose daughter just had a baby. So I know she doesn't know I'm on the air because she doesn't live in the city. But I will congratulate her live before we get ready to go to commercials. I'm on the air, dear.
I'm so sorry.
They can hear you, so be careful.
He ignored my call, y'all, because he loved y'all. Power to the people.
See, she knows what station she's listening to. I was just talking about your new grandbaby, so on the air.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy, so excited, about to go to the hospital now and spend as much time with him as I can.
All right. Well, your voice must sound like you are singing because our Zoom call just came up and asked the question, "Are you playing music?" So it must be happy sounds.
Oh yeah, because no, I'm actually in the laundry room looking for a washcloth.
Well, I'll text you. You know where.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for all the congratulations. I truly appreciate it.
All right, peace. Yeah, I won't be giving out that information on air.
Go to the down
I
the hall.
swear they was in the house because I know where the washcloths at. I know where his towels are at. I know where the soap is at. The devil is a liar.
Hey, listen, they already make up enough about
They
locations.
already make up. Now they know where my office at. They know how to get in my office. They must be like Houdini. They like Houdini. They pop up like Bewitched, man.
That's it. And if never mind. I was gonna say.
No, yeah. I think I gave enough of that on Sunday.
You sure did.
Yeah, I gave it all. I'm 60. I ain't leaving no. As my granddaughter says, I ain't leaving no crumbs.
That's it.
You bring crumbs, I'm gonna sweep those crumbs up right in your face.
As you should.
As I should. So yeah. So that's it. When we come back from the break, and I'm not gonna stay away from any story. Got several stories. Got one in Rochester, New York, where the trial is going on. I didn't realize that there was a trial. I heard about the trial in Rochester, one of the Buffalo Five. However, I guess this is a lawsuit against the county for their incarceration. And so that's why people from Buffalo have been going back and forth. And I'm going to see on the break if I can find. I'm not seeing much. And now with the news, let me say this before we go to the break. Somebody needs to help some of these news stations with their social media. Because when we come back, I'm going to tell you what the Democrats in Congress are doing to get their message out. We're going to talk about Carrie Horn, her situation a little bit. And yeah, it looks like today is all things police, all things politics. Listen, Mark, let's go to the commercials in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo. 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
So, a lot of Democrats are now saying, hey, where are you at, Democrats? What are you doing? So did you see where Chuck Schumer recently said that he had a plan with Hakeem? Because some of the Democrats are calling for Chuck Schumer to step down. Like they are upset with Uncle Chuck. And this is a time when both leaders of the Senate and of Congress are from New York State.
Yep.
And they're not feeling Chuck Schumer. Some of them are not
I was
feeling
going to
Chuck
say, not even just New York State, downstate. Like they are maybe a borough away from each other. And,
yeah, that's crazy.
And it is tough. And, you know, seeing the divide, and we talked about this, I think, a little bit last week about Democrats really not having a leader, and
Right.
and them not passing the keys really to Hakeem Jeffrey, Minority Leader Jeffries, to give him that respect. And I don't know, is it because they think he's too green or doesn't know enough yet, or let's just be honest, because he's black, or and then you have the Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who says, I'm voting for this plan because I don't want to give the ammo to the Republicans in the GOP base of the government shutdown. But the appearance gave that it's more about because Schumer also has more corporate backing. So now it's like, okay, it's almost like the Target fast. Like, which one are we doing? Are we just all of February? Are we the church fast, or like what are we doing? Are we the 1 day fast? And I just think we're just divided, and it's tough.
Yeah, it's real tough. So here's the plan. Let me see. I found it on local news. So the plan is social media.
Huh.
So they gathered all of these major influencers from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Wow.
And got advice from them, and then got them to start pushing the Democratic agenda and helping the senators and the Congress people push the agenda. Here's where they screwed up. Now, they got mad publicity. They got millions and millions of views. The Republicans slap back and they say, watch every one of them. They gave them a script. So you got 10 Congress people reading a script on social media, and it's the exact same words allegedly. So I think they may be moving in the right direction, because you got the Republican side who ain't gonna mess with social media like that, except for the president and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But the senators, the congressmen, half of them are 70, 80 years old. Flip phone. I think Chuck Schumer still had his flip phone. And shucks, my audio is about to mess up a little bit, but I'm gonna try my best to keep my audio. And so you have these people who have not did not mess with social media, and now they're getting crushed in social media. And the fact of the matter is that the sitting president utilized social media and utilizes social media to his benefit. And so now everything that goes out, you see it on Truth or on X before you see it on NAP. When has that ever happened? So he doesn't have to call a press conference anymore. He goes to social media. So I think it was smart of Hakeem and of Schumer to say, we have to meet this, the United States and in this constituency where they're at. And where they're at is not watching the major news at night. Where they're at is on TikTok. Where they're at is on X. Where they're at is on new stuff, Telegram and all that kind of stuff. So if the Democrats are going to get their message out, they're going to have to get it out in a different way. And finally, they have discovered that they have to participate in some, like churches and everybody else discovered, that they have to participate in this thing called social media.
And I agree. And there's a way to do it, because it's the same way that and again, been watching a lot of documentaries, but it's the same way Russia influenced the 2015-16 election. But in watching the Cold War documentary, it wasn't the first time because we've done it in other countries. Russia's done it previously in other countries, even dating back to Germany and other world wars. And it is using the media to your advantage. And I have no problem with using influencers and things to push your agenda on either side, because that's what the First Amendment is. But it's it's got to be authentic, because if it's not authentic, this generation, we're going to swipe past it in 15 seconds anyway. So we have to figure out what it looks like, what it's appealing to, who we are trying to appeal to, because we know even locally, people still think you can win elections on social media, but most of your prime voters are still not on social media like that, or at least not on social media for that. So we have to understand and put it in a way that you do get your message across quickly, and it's the right message. And because even if I'm paying for an ad, 9 times out of 10, if I pay for an ad to reach someone who looks up government articles or stories, someone on the other side is using the same algorithm. So my next story is probably going to be the counter argument. So it's figuring out how to convince a side and be more appealing.
I totally agree. I thought it was interesting that they weren't there yet.
Right.
That we're doing it now. That people are going, where's the party? What's going on with the party? So now you want to come over to social media, which you got to do what you got to do. I think that was more of a Hakeem Jeffries move than it was of a Chuck Schumer move. But I think with them two together, Hakeem is younger. Chuck Schumer definitely has influence over the more seasoned senators in the Senate. So I think that I just thought it was very, very interesting that you know how you got something on your tongue and now you keep talking and.
Yeah, especially like
there it is. It's
after you shape up your beard, it's like that's the worst.
Yeah,
but
it's the worst.
They should just hire Obama for America's crew, because they were the ones that really, when you want to talk about influencing a message, Obama for America's Hope campaign was the one that kind of, even current President 47. He modeled what OFA did in 2008. So there is precedent, and we just got to tap into it better.
I totally agree with you, and I think that it's a shame we had to get to this point to now wake up. But it's never too late to wake up.
Never too late.
So this week, I guess there was a lot going on in Rochester. A lot of people some people from Buffalo were going with the Buffalo Five, which I supported. And matter of fact, one of them reached out today, who's testifying in Rochester through the Honorable Betty Jean Grant, for me to give him a call. So they are testifying, and as I understand it, and again, I'm not seeing a lot in our local papers about it, but there is a continuing trial for the Buffalo. I think it's for at least one of the Buffalo Five. I'm just looking at Rochester and Chronicle. And so while that was going on there, while we're talking about police, Rochester Chronicle, here in Buffalo, it's a lot going on with that happened in the case with Carriel Horn. And the only reason I bring it up, because I think it would be unfair of me not to bring it up and not talk about other issues that are the news of the day. Yeah, I don't even see it. It's not even news in Rochester. It's not even new, at least on their main pages. And I'm not able, for some reason, to search Buffalo News. I don't know if they're still having an issue from the hack that they went through. But allegedly, and let me say this, and full disclaimer, obviously, the judge who ended up the last portion of it is, for full disclosure, is my daughter-in-law, Judge Pridgen. However, I just want to deal with the facts of what I read. Now, what you read is not always the truth. So let me say it again, allegedly, and let me give full disclaimer that I'm the one that filed Carriel's law in the council. I supported Carriel's law. I still support Carriel's law, which is basically known as Carriel's law, but it's the duty to intervene law. And I sponsored it in the council. It was co-written with many other people from our community, including Carriel and others who participated in forming that law. So I want to be clear that I have been a ardent supporter of Carriel and the law of the duty to intervene. I've been a matter of fact, Monique wrote the song Carriel. I forgot what it was, a song that she wrote for. But at the end of the day, it does not take away my support of the duty to intervene. There should be a duty that when police officers see another police officer doing something wrong, that police officer should intervene, period. That's what that's about. So I guess allegedly there was a situation during the storm. So we're talking about what, 2022?
Yeah, I believe it was in 2022.
Right. So during the big storm we had, in which Carriel alleges that she got out of a car when she says she saw a police officer not treating a citizen well. I believe she was either detained or arrested, but anyway, that's what this trial is about. For clarity, Jaher Pridgen is not the judge over the case. There's another judge. Everybody has read who the judge is. And allegedly, and I wasn't there, so I'm not taking any sides, there was a date set. There was a lawyer that was fired. There was an offer for a lawyer. And of course, in the United States, you don't have to have a lawyer. If you want to represent yourself, you can represent yourself. And Carriel decided she didn't want one. There was some, allegedly from another judge, some dates missed. When allegedly, again, when Carriel did come to offer herself to the court, or whatever her words were that were in Buffalo News, she was told that there was a bench warrant issued by another judge. That then triggered a sitting judge to have to go on the bench to take care of it. If you walk in city court and there is a warrant out for your arrest, you can't walk out. You have to appear in front of a judge. So this wasn't somebody went out and got Carriel. She showed up to the court. Another judge had issued a warrant, allegedly, a bench warrant, allegedly for failure to appear, or something like that. So the judge who was sitting to take care of it had to follow through with the other judge's orders. So that's where that is. That when my last time that I read somebody's post who went to visit her, they said she was in good spirits. I don't know if she's out. I have no idea. I'm in no way following the case. I in no way obviously have personal conversations in detail that are not public with any judge on any case, unless it is something that I'm writing a character reference. But when it comes down to the cases itself, that part I'm not privy to. So I just thought, that this is, we got a lot of police issues going on in Western New York. And, there's people who are calling, Councilmember Wyatt, the mayoral candidate, is calling for a police oversight board, which has been a lot of pushback. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, I think, with these cases.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think we were on the council my AI still talks about the police reform that we worked on before we left, and even with Carriel's law and all this, especially all the stuff after George Warren with Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
We always said the minute the community gets quiet was going to be the time it was going to be toughest for any reform to happen. And we saw it happen. And I think if anyone is ever confused about your support for Cariol Horn, I can testify to the boxes and boxes that sat in my office in City Hall that you combed through yourself to make sure she got her due diligence. And honestly, I think that was one of your biggest swan songs. Like, we were not going to leave the council until we did something that made her right. And I think even in this, like you said, everything's allegedly. We're not in the courtroom. We're not in the Buffalo Police Department or whoever else. So I think just even bringing it up, and hopefully she knows that this show still supports,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I remember sitting there when they said she couldn't get her pension. So anybody who has something to say because of the last couple of days' events, you don't know your facts.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I sat there and went through every day of her working to get her enough hours for the pension. And then, of course, with the help of people like Crystal Stokes, others, including the governor, who signed off on her getting her pension. That this didn't happen in a silo. It took working together in order to get her the pension and in order to get the duty to intervene law, as we named it, as Cariol's law, to get it moved. So it still is necessary. I'm still a supporter of that law. I'm still a supporter. Listen, I'm a supporter of good police. Because I'm going to tell you this.
Absolutely.
All those people who are saying, get rid of the police, we want to get rid of the police. I ain't never said it. I ain't never said. None of my constituents were saying, the majority of my constituents were saying it. We want great police and we want safe neighborhoods. But let's be honest, just like anything else, there are some that are not good, and those have to be weeded out. And anybody who argues with that, that's your argument to have. But I don't think in any profession that there shouldn't be a way to investigate or a way to
discipline or anything.
To discipline someone. So I just think I wish everybody the best in this situation. But I had to explain how things went down allegedly because it was one judge, and I'm not throwing one judge under the bus or the other. This was just the process,
right?
And hopefully she will get her day in court. She's decided up until this point that she does not want a lawyer, that she wants to represent herself. And now this is my personal opinion. Get a lawyer, somebody. Everybody get a lawyer. Nope. That's my personal opinion. But she has every right to say, I want to represent myself. A lawyer will still be assigned that she can depend on or that she can lean on. I don't know if you can depend on anything, but that she can lean on. And I think they have to go from there.
Absolutely. And so much big prayers to her.
Yeah, big prayers to everybody who's involved. Things are getting a little dicey. Things are getting a little dicey around there and around here. So just gotta watch as well as pray.
That's it.
But you also gotta have a say. Gotta have a say. And I think that at the end of the day, we worked hard for these things. Buffalo 5, that was a baby of mine. In making sure that they not only were found, that they were acquitted, but that they got their money. And although the city gave them millions of dollars, it ain't enough. And then one of them died before it even hit when it hit his bank account. This is what I was told. When it hit his bank account, he dies. So his family will, be able to utilize it, but he never really got to enjoy the $1 million or so that was awarded to the Buffalo 5, the millions of dollars that was awarded to the Buffalo 5. So,
and I was going to say, I think it was in the Challenger, they wrote In the only paragraph, I think the city settled for their amount because a judge ruled that they were worthy of compensation. It's so what's going on in Rochester is the judge is going to determine if the county's case is worthy of compensation. So there might be more funds awarded to them.
And that's a shame that it took so long.
Yeah.
And let me say to those who say, yeah, the county should, remember, it was not this administration of the county. It was not this administration of the city. This was before, shucks, I don't even know how old I was.
I was going to say, I wasn't
I
even
couldn't
alive
read
yet.
the paper. So at the end of the day, it is making the past right with the present.
Right.
And they deserve that. They deserve anything that comes their way. And I know Judge McLeod, I think, was testifying today or yesterday. And let me see who contacted me today. He said what I was told is he would be speaking today. John Walker is testifying today. And John is sick. We're praying that he lives long enough to be able to utilize some of that money, because these guys were locked up since kids.
Yep.
And it was unfair. It was wrong. And I can't thank those who came to their aid, especially friends of mine in the legal community. Anyway,
Jesus.
Yeah. I'm 60, so I need them to do some other stuff. Stop.
Yeah.
Putting around
friends.
the people who don't. Yeah, let me shut up. Who don't show up. Anyway, it's about time to go. We got anything? I think we took care of everything. Big ups to there was a tribute. Oh my gosh, to the principal from Lackawanna. Oh, I'm feeling so bad right now.
Dr. Nelly.
I'm feeling so bad that I cannot call her name,
Dr.
and you're
Nelly
not
King,
going
that
to
one?
know. Huh?
Dr. Nelly King, that tribute.
Nellie King. There was a tribute to her. Want to say to her family, friends, I'm sorry I couldn't be with you. But that was my girl. She's a wonderful educator. I think that's a great way. Before you run that final commercial, we've been talking about education. We've been talking about police. We've been talking about a lot of that. It's all about quality of life.
Yep.
Quality of life, and making sure that our life is quality. And let me say this as final words. There was a lot of protests. There was a lot that went on. There was a lot of talk about Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, Whose Lives Matter. At the end of the day, we still live in a democracy. And a democracy is not a democracy if there's not participation. And so those of you who are upset with the current administration, upset with how things are going, maybe it's the wake-up call. So that lives matter, not just when there's a protest. Lives matter, not just when something has happened that is negative. But what would happen if we participated all the time? We were at the table and made sure that our voices were heard instead of just in times of crisis. Get involved, be active, most importantly, vote. It's yours to do or not do. Until next week, we say power to the people.